The silence didn't explode. It froze. Late Friday night, a file slid onto a secure London server, and the people allowed to open it didn't gasp, didn't shout, didn't call anyone. They just stopped breathing. Because for 5 years, the world argued over Archie Harrison's birth like it was a puzzle missing a corner. And then this file arrived with the corner attached. Clean narratives crumble when ink from the delivery room speaks louder than press releases. And this one does.
He was also furious about the whole surrogacy business and all of this speculation.
News. The most important thing is that mum, baby, everybody as well. And we have seen it. We've witnessed this young man, Harry, some
alleged children as pawns so much. We're only going to let you see our children if you behave in a certain way.
A document drops onto a secure server in London late Friday night. When the few people with access finally opened it, the silence that followed wasn't shock. It was a family holding its breath. For 5 years, the world's debated the mystery surrounding Archie Harrison's birth. The secrecy, the hidden details, the conflicting timelines. But here's the thing. Debate is one thing. What just landed changes everything. You know that birth certificate you saw on the news, that cleaned up version released months after the fact? Well, this is the original one, handwritten, signed at the moment of delivery, and in the box marked mother. The name isn't Meghan Markle. What I'm about to share is going to blow your mind. We're talking wrong dates, wrong locations, and a money trail nobody saw coming. If you want to hear the rest of this, hit subscribe and turn on that notification bell so you don't miss what happens next. Drop a like if you're ready for this. Now, let's dive in. So, let's talk about this file. Late Friday night, something lands on a secure server in London. No fanfare, no briefing note, just one encrypted file and a circle of people whose job is to keep storms from forming. And when they opened it, the quiet wasn't confusion, it was recognition. Because the secrecy around Archie's arrival had never matched any royal precedent. The timelines wobbled, the details blurred. And yet nothing stuck until something did.
The reason that it's important to royal watchers is because for their children to be in the line of succession, they have to be.
No fanfare, no press release, just a single encrypted file that only a handful of people had the clearance to open. And when they finally did, the silence that followed wasn't confusion. It was the kind of quiet that happens when everything you thought you knew just got flipped upside down. For 5 years now, we've been watching this story unfold from the outside. The theories, the speculation, the endless debates about what really happened with Archie's birth. Some people dismissed it all as conspiracy theories. Others couldn't shake the feeling that something didn't add up. The secrecy was unprecedented because this wasn't a polished certificate filtered through approvals and optics. This was the intake form, handwritten real-time, filled in by whoever stood in the room when a child entered the world. And right there, where clarity should live, was a blackout that screamed louder than any denial.
Meghan, shut up. Like, we thought you were past this. What happened to, I'm done proving it game? Like, just stop.
The leaked document is a handwritten medical form, not some typed up official record that went through a PR team and official approval. This is the actual intake form from the delivery itself, the one filled out in real time by whoever was in that room. And right there in the section marked mother, it doesn't say Meghan Markle. It says surrogate A with a last name that's been completely blacked out, just redacted like someone took a thick marker and made sure nobody could read it. Now you might be thinking, okay, but couldn't this be fake? Couldn't someone have mocked this up? Here's why that's not likely. This document allegedly matches hospital formatting from the specific facility it claims to come from. It's got details that only someone with inside access would know. Codes, reference numbers, the kind of administrative minutia that would be impossible to fabricate convincingly. This is where the floor shifts, because hospital minutiae don't lie for Netflix. Codes don't improvise for podcasts, and black ink doesn't negotiate. The people who've seen it aren't anonymous avatars, they're tied to palace corridors, and they all point to the same thing, a workaround, a quiet restructuring of parentage on paper when the straight road isn't available.
I mean, an inordinate amount of times I've been there to do that. No kidding. And
And the people who've seen it, they're not random internet trolls. We're talking about individuals with direct connections to the palace who've now come forward. Here's where it gets even more interesting. There's this workaround that exists in certain situations. Basically, a way to restructure how parentage gets recorded on paper. It's just strategic. It's the kind of thing that happens quietly behind closed doors when the traditional path isn't available or doesn't fit the circumstances. And if this document's real, that's exactly what happened here. And suddenly, the tidy public story, mother named, location fixed, date neat, collides with something messy. The public certificate says one thing. The delivery room form whispers another. Different mother field, different details, and once you stare at that handwriting, the 5-year fog starts to lift. Then comes the date, April 18th, 2019, not May 6th. An 18-day canyon nobody ever explained. Where was the baby? What was happening? Some call it a settling period. Others call it something harsher. Either way, it's time that vanished from the official tale. And the location? Not the London hospital everyone repeated. The form points across an ocean to Santa Barbara Fertility Center, complete with the California zip code. Different continent, different system, different rules. While the world waited on Windsor updates, the story suggests the child may already have been settled quietly while attention stayed fixed elsewhere. Two narratives now sit side by side. The public one, London, May 6, mother named. The source document, a different setup entirely, surrogate carrier, donor egg, intended parent designation. In California, that structure places intended parent on the certificate. In Britain, especially for royal status, that distinction isn't cosmetic, it's foundational. And then the question no one wants to ask out loud, who paid for it? Surrogacy isn't a rounding error, it's 6 figures. Medical costs, facility fees, agency handling, compensation. The leaked trail doesn't point to personal accounts. It points to a private U.S. entity, money labeled as renovation costs. Remember those Frogmore numbers? Plausible at the time. Old building, expensive updates. But ledgers remember, transfers line up with conception windows. A final payment lands May 2, days before the public labor announcement. And inside the medical file, a section that's usually blank is typed in capital letters, donor oocyte, donor egg, which means, on paper, no pregnancy and no genetic contribution attributed to the public mother narrative. You'd think NDAs would seal this forever, but clocks run out. And one of the names, once masked, no longer has to stay silent. According to what's circulating, she says she was told the child would live privately, away from spotlights and balconies. Then she turned on the television. Medical updates during the pregnancy tell another uncomfortable story. Timestamps and locations showing an active pregnancy in Oregon while public appearances happened in Ocean Away. 2 places, same time frame. Records don't bend for optics. When this surfaced, the scramble wasn't messaging, it was money. Offers to reseal silence. Too late. Paper exists, signatures exist, and somewhere inside the palace, patience ran out. A request for clarity landed, not spectacle, verification. And the response wasn't a yes or a no. It was a warning, push this and diaries come out. Not feelings, logs, dates, conversations, closed doors. A standoff that once worked. This time it didn't, because behind the scenes, this wasn't new. Late 2019, a meeting framed as future planning that, according to these accounts, circled one issue only. And the late queen, we're told, already knew. The solution then wasn't drama, it was containment. Go abroad, keep titles, don't return as working royals, keep this buried. But the talking didn't stop. The books, the shows, the interviews, and with every retelling, the buried thing pushed back. Now the donor is said to be on British soil, with receipts, with records, with a claim she wasn't told the full truth about what her contribution would become. And when purpose is misrepresented, agreements wobble. Behind quiet doors, language is being sharpened. Not names, not announcements, definitions. Born naturally to the title holder and spouse. Bureaucratic, surgical, devastating. Because when definitions change, titles don't need to be stripped. They simply stop applying. By the time the donor arrived on British soil, this was no longer a rumor ecosystem, it was an evidence corridor. Receipts, communications, medical records, the entire paper spine of an arrangement that had been sold to multiple people as something small, private, forgettable. And that's the problem, because when the purpose of consent changes, everything downstream fractures. Inside palace offices, the strategy shifted from reaction to architecture. No dramatic stripping, no speeches, no villains named, just language, precise, clinical, irreversible. The rule wasn't about one child or one family. It was about standards, royal styles and titles reserved for children born naturally to the title holder and their spouse. Read it slowly. That sentence does the work of 1,000 headlines. Once that language locks, California law becomes irrelevant to British status. No confrontation required. No sympathy cycle triggered. The titles don't get taken. They simply no longer qualify. Bureaucracy as gravity. In Montecito, the mood reportedly hardened. Not denial. Not outrage. Calculation. The diaries, once the nuclear option, were suddenly fenced in by jurisdiction. Blocked from publication across the UK and Commonwealth territories. The leverage that once froze the palace in place was neutralized. And when leverage disappears, so does negotiation. What followed wasn't a bang, it was a pause, a quiet placement in abeyance, palace phrasing that sounds temporary but reads permanent, frozen without fanfare, names not mentioned, terms not defined. The effect, however, was immediate. Digital edits began, pages vanished, bios rewritten, a public-facing family tree pruned without ceremony. Then came the sightings, a black SUV, not paparazzi bait, not private California security, people connected to the old system, faces unseen in years, moving quietly, and the separation everyone had speculated about stopped being speculative. Not a statement, not a press release. Logistics, abeyance. The word that does everything without saying anything. The translation, paused indefinitely. The children's royal status suspended, not stripped, not debated, simply frozen. Within hours, the Sussex section of the royal website didn't migrate, it vanished. Photos, descriptions, the place in the family narrative, gone, as if the last 5 years were being archived in real time. Visitors noticed immediately a digital erasure that spoke louder than any statement. And where was Harry? Reports placed him at a small cottage on the Balmoral estate. Not the main house, not a public wing, somewhere quiet. Described by those in contact as empty, not angry, not defensive. This wasn't a reunion, it was a rehabilitation. A removal from the environment that produced the collapse. Montecito, by contrast, hardened into isolation. The Duchess title still technically intact for now, but hollowed. The children's styles evaporating. The leverage gone. The house standing. The influence not. A reign without subjects. Deep in the archives, the document that started this, handwritten, black ink, delivery room reel, was sealed into a leather-bound box. Red wax. A date. Closed for a century. The institution does this well. Delay the historical reckoning while managing the present consequences. 100 years from now, historians will open it and read what was written at the moment of delivery. Today, the effects are already alive. King Charles, according to accounts, reviewed the updated family line. Names removed, structure cleaned, not in anger, in finality. One last signature closed the chapter. No more negotiation, no more threats. The Sussex era as working royalty ended not with a crash, but with a click of a pen. The insider who leaked the material disappeared. No more midnight drops, no more files landing on servers. The pipeline shut. The monarchy, scarred but standing, did what it has always done, absorbed the damage and moved forward. So here's where the pieces sit now. A source document contradicting the public story. A surrogate no longer bound by silence. Financial records that don't align with renovations. A donor who says she wasn't told the truth and arrived with proof. Titles neutralized by definition, not drama. A website scrubbed. Harry relocated. Meghan isolated. And the records locked away for the future. Secrets don't stay buried because paper remembers. Ink waits. And institutions survive by choosing when and how the truth is allowed to surface. The question now isn't whether this happened. It's what happens next. Does silence hold? Or does someone decide the archive shouldn't wait 100 years? Drop your thoughts. Stay alert. Some stories don't end, they just change form. And they just change form. And they just change form. And they just...